Oh, there they are. There's some participants. All right.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, Jared?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how
All
are you?
right, I'm good, thank you. Okay, so let's wait until about 11:05 to start, everyone. Let some people trickle in. And this is the 5th iteration, I believe. And we'll get ready to rock and roll in just a bit. So this is a good time if you want to go grab a soda or a water or a snack, go for it. And we'll begin at around 11:05, 11:06, something like that. In the meantime, how was everybody's weekend or long weekend? All at once. All right, so everybody who's on right now, in the chat box, I added today's class material. So if you want to go ahead and click on that when you have a chance, that'd be awesome. All righty. So it looks like we're going to have somewhat of a smaller class today, but that's all right. We have 6 people right now. We'll go ahead and get started. Davina, how are you today? You there, Davina? All right, we'll go past Davina. Grace, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, everyone, let's try to be engaged, all right? Because believe me, I got a lot of stuff I got to do today, and I love teaching this class, but it only benefits y'all if you're engaged. Grace, how was your long weekend? Did you have any opportunities to make connections with people? Oh,
I did a little bit, just a little bit. I spoke with 5 people, but None. No leads.
Gotcha. Hey, Alfredo, could you make me host so I could share my screen? One second, Grace. Alfredo, you there? I'm gonna go call the office, y'all, real quick, just to see if I can get them to make me the
You can
host.
screen share, Jared.
Oh, I can do it now. Thank you. All righty. Okay, so Grace, you said you had 5 contacts. Nothing too much came of it. How did they go? Were they people in your sphere? Were you cold calling?
It was people in my sphere.
Gotcha. And honestly, keep in mind that when we're talking to our sphere at first, it's a little hit or miss. Sometimes it's just not the right time for them, and that's okay. And let's just make sure we remember that it's the process. We get the quality and the quantity. So we want to go out and reach out to as many people as possible. Honestly, I'm realizing right now, Instagram, Facebook, and all that fun stuff is a really, really great way to reach a lot of people en masse. We also want to make sure that we're trying to follow up with those people. So if we make a post, for example, on Instagram, we're going to want to go ahead and follow up with them. Let's say we just see that they viewed our post, follow up with them, send them a direct message, be like, hey, how's your day going? What's up? What's new with you? And see if they're, maybe they're interested in buying or selling. But good job, Grace. Keep it up. Okay, let me just make sure I got you for the 5th class. Okay. Siren. Did I pronounce that right? You might be on mute. I can't tell if you're talking or not, but Siren? Siren? All right, moving on down. Angela Cross, how you been?
I've been good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for asking. How was your long weekend? And did you make any contacts?
Actually, I did. I feel like I've accomplished something. So I contacted 11 people and had 6 two-way conversations.
Atta girl. How did they go? Did you get any appointments?
I have to talk. I want to research some things. So I'm a creature of habit. So like I eat the same places all the time, and it's like they know me. And when they see me coming, it's like, ugh, or hey. So I went to a couple of places this weekend that I ate, that I frequent regularly, where I know the owners and stuff. And one of the owners from this restaurant, he gave me a lead for a listing lead, someone who wanted to sell.
Oh my gosh. Awesome.
So I haven't contacted the guy yet because I want to like have my verbiage and everything together, and he wants to move to Texas. So I'm like, I'm just trying to like get my verbiage and everything together.
Sure. And do you know what part of Texas?
I don't, not yet.
Perfect. I was gonna say, if you happen to know where they're moving to Texas, not only could you help them with the listing, but you could proactively reach out to offices in Texas, in that area particularly, and already have like an agent set up and be like, and by the by, this is a great agent in Texas that you could work with in finding your home. I'm going to sell your house here, but if you want a great agent or a recommendation, I really recommend this person. And then plus you can get a referral fee for that. But yeah, other than that, you can also have that conversation when you speak with them, that you do have great partnerships in all the major cities in Texas, and you can start it off that way. So good job, Angela. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. David Maharo.
Hey, what's up, Jerry?
How you doing, bud?
Good, man. I haven't had any new contacts as far as the ones I've mentioned in the last class. I know I missed the last class, actually, so the class before that. But I did get in contact with my mentor, and he gave me a couple helpful links to get new, as far as like prospecting, I guess. So I will be reaching out starting tomorrow and Friday.
Awesome. Good job. So what do we want to put down for our numbers?
As far as,
Contacts, zeros or
yeah, I guess, yeah, let's do zeros to get motivation for next time.
zeros? Turn them into heroes. All right. Very cool. Awesome. Okay, let's try Davina. Are you available yet? All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, Greg, you're on here. Are you new, Greg, or do I have you down already?
I'm down there already.
Greg Anthony.
Yes.
Perfect. How you been, bud?
Good, good. So I actually don't have any numbers. I just recently signed up for that Mojo Cells. So I'm just gonna be like diving into that and searching, and I was like getting my scripts together, and so I'll be calling out and stuff shortly.
Awesome. Very cool. Sometimes we need to do a little buffering before we're ready to
Right.
so no worries. Good stuff, man. Okay, so what I wanted to go over, just some stuff that we can think of when we are trying to go prospect and all that fun stuff. A good way to reach out, and I just wanted to share this with everybody. I'm not saying that it's perfect. And in fact, because it's not perfect, I think it's even better to share for the class. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I put on my Instagram. And I think I could watch my stories. Yes. Okay. So real quick, I'm going to do a quick screen share. So ignore the running stuff. And 1 second. Okay.
We're excited about this new property that we're closing up on, and represented the owners, and just wanted to take a quick peek. Super excited for them. It's actually a lease property, representing the landlords, and I got them about $1,000 a month extra on top of their previous tenants. So super excited for that.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to show you that, I'm just talking about a lease listing that I'm closing on today. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you that is I can see who's been watching this video. And what I'm putting up on the screen right now is a list of every single person who has watched this video. Some people I know are not looking to buy currently, but some of these other people might be. Now, some of these people are not following me. This Holy Guacamole person doesn't follow me. This G Code, they don't follow me either. Let's see, Benjamin Nichols doesn't follow me. So for some reason, somehow I reach these people and they're outside of my sphere. A lot of these people are agents. A lot of them are not. I went to high school with Samantha. Andrew, I went to high school with. Victoria, I went to college with. Eric, he's a client of mine potentially one day. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is if I'm able to look to see who's actually watching my videos, what I can do instead of just passively putting a video up, I can actually now go and click on these people's profiles and go take a look at them. And let's see, were we talking yesterday? We were. He sent me a text message after watching one of my videos. So I'm able to follow up with these people and have these conversations, these two-way dialogues in a much more efficient kind of way. So when we're trying to hit our numbers, for example, I usually like to share my numbers. I did 23 and 18. I made 23 outward contacts and I had 18 conversations. I like to have my numbers up a little bit higher than that, but it is what it is. You can't be perfect every day. It was a holiday weekend and all that fun stuff. So the point that I'm trying to get across is we can, think outside the box when we're talking about lead generation and trying to have conversations with people. And I want us to keep that in mind, especially if we're talking about something, real estate related. We want to make sure that we are taking those opportunities to try to turn those views into conversations. So if you're using Instagram or stuff like that as a lead generation platform, keep that in mind that you can go ahead and reach out to them as well after they've viewed one of your posts. Okay, let's see. There we go. So enough of that. We want to get into it right away. Price to sell with your CMA. That's what this class is going to be all about. We're going to create CMAs to price our listings. CMAs are also not just for listings, they're also for buyers. If we're going ahead and working with buyers on a lot of properties, oftentimes they're going to wonder if it's an appropriate price. If you just have one or two buyers, you can be a pro agent and have a little fun with it. You know, before you're going out doing showings, if you know one of the houses is like a super big hit and you know your client is telling you, oh my gosh, I love this house, I need to see it, go ahead and get into the MLS, make a CMA on that property, do a comps analysis to see how well it's priced. And then that way you're going to be able to educate your buyer when you're walking through the property and hand them over a CMA and say, hey, this house is actually underpriced for the market. So what does that mean to me as a real estate agent? They're trying to create a bidding war. So we're probably going to have to go real strong, real aggressive right off the bat when we're writing that offer. Also, CMAs are to help you win a listing. You want to show your client that you've done your homework, that you know what the market is in that area. You know what homes are being sold for. So in today's class, we're going to go over the importance of comparative market analysis. And also, I'm going to give you a little quick lesson myself of how to create one. And we'll go ahead and just pick a random property and do a CMA for that. Okay, today expectations: study market fundamentals to discover the top pricing strategies for pricing any property. Learn to prepare a comparative market analysis, CMA, that will easily support your pricing methodology. Learn pricing presentation scripts and pricing objection handlers that will benefit both you and your potential clients. Discover standards and techniques to deliver a great CMA and your price recommendations. All right, any questions that we have there? We are all stars. Good stuff. Okay, so we did our daily 10-4 reporting, what I like to call our 10-4 reporting, just to see how many people we're proactively reaching out to. Good job, everybody, for keeping that up. Real quick, before we get into this, obviously, we're going to go over what we go over almost every single class, the importance of writing handwritten notes, either maybe in today's age, it might be a text message, an email, or what have you. When we're done doing our lead generation, whether it be from calling people, texting people, emailing people, direct messaging people, and if we've had a nice conversation, it might be a good idea and a great opportunity to have an additional touch to reach out to them via a handwritten note, an email, or a text message. So right over here, expired or withdrawn. So let's say we're calling people who have expired listings or withdrawn listings, and we're trying to have a convo with them about us being their new realtor. This is a great opportunity to send them a letter in the mail. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. It was great getting to know your property, and I look forward to helping you any way that I can. Please know that I'm available to you at any time to be an asset and a resource to you. Please call me whenever you have a question or a need comes up. And if you please don't mind, I'll stay in touch to see if I can be of assistance. I wish you all the best. So that's a great way to just kind of, a little quick follow-up after a meeting. Snail mail takes a long time nowadays. So if you have their email address, go ahead and feel free to send that via an email. If you have their phone number, send that to them via text message. It's a really good way to kind of follow up. Ideally, you already have the listing when you're walking away from a expired or withdrawn property after you've met with them. But of course, it might just be on the phone. So now let's go over to referrals. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. It was great getting to know you, and I look forward to helping you. Please know that I'm available to you at any time to be an asset and a resource to you, your family, and your friends. Please call me whenever you have any questions or needs come up. I'll stay in touch. Wish you all the best. They're pretty much identical. So just keep in mind that we can utilize these scripts. Just highlight, copy, paste, put it in a Word document, have it ready to go. So it's super easy to send. Right in my phone, I have that exact same script set up in my notes. So if I want to send a quick text message, there we go. I can go ahead, highlight, copy, paste, send it away. So good stuff. Get your head in the game. Truth. Pricing has a large mindset component, both for you and your seller. Pricing is a process. Learning to do it will also require knowing pricing strategies based on principles that drive the market. It also requires knowing pricing tactics, building and presenting a comparative market analysis and scripts to go along with it. This is very important stuff. So I hope we take this to heart with whatever we go over today. Okay, making it happen pricing. Pricing is one of the absolute essential real estate success skills. To become a pricing master, you must understand how markets work, local market conditions, pricing criteria, how markets work. Two principles about markets and the value they provide, a great foundation for pricing in any real estate, excuse me. Market dynamics. Markets operate on the law of supply and demand. When supply is high and demand is down, prices fall. When supply is low and demand is up, prices increase. What kind of market are we in today, everybody? Somebody tell me what kind of market we're in today.
Seller's market.
Bingo. So is supply up or is supply down?
Down.
Big time. And so what is that doing when supply is down?
Sellers can increase their prices.
Sure, that's absolutely correct. But a little bit more,
There's
what
more
does that
buyers.
mean? What does that mean with demand?
It goes up.
Bingo, absolutely. So 100%, we're all on the same page there. Right now we are in a seller's market because there's so much demand. Now, granted, there's a lot of demand because inventory is low, but what else is driving demand right now?
Low interest rates.
Bingo, winner, winner, chicken dinner. I love it. Yes, interest rates are historically low. In fact, I was making a post earlier today, which is why I was 2 minutes late, and I didn't finish it because I edited it incorrectly on accident. But I have a little sheet of paper right here that is historic interest rates. Now, what do we think interest rates were in the 1970s?
Like 20% or 10.
Almost close. Yes, they were very, very high. Not quite 20%, but in the 1970s. So in 1971, they were in the mid 7% range. They steadily went up until they were at 9.19% in 1974, and then eventually in 1979, the high was 11.2%, 11.20%. So 11.20%. So that was a very, very high inflation period. And then frankly, when we went into the 80s, that's when we're getting a little bit closer to that 20% line. So in both the 70s and 80s, the United States was pushed into a recession caused by an oil embargo. So essentially what ended up happening to counteract the hyperinflation, the Federal Reserve raised short-term interest rates. This made money much more expensive to borrow. Hi, Archer. Thank you. Sorry, my dog is going nuts. Give me a second, please. Archer, stop it. Give me 1 second. Anyway, sorry about that. Thank you. Can you take him out? Thanks. Okay. So, let's see where we are. Where are we? Okay. In the 80s, there we go. They went all the way up to 16.63%. So that was the highest we've had interest rates in our history. Right now, does anybody know where interest rates are falling right now?
In the 2s and 3s?
That is correct. 2.6% is the national average, I believe, right now. And frankly, that's all dependent on what your borrower's situation looks like. So for example, sometimes they might get 2.6, sometimes they might get all the way up to 3%, depending on what their credit history looks like. Is it possible to send the PDF again for today's class? Yes, George, absolutely. Hold on.
Where do we get these interests? Where do we get this information from on a daily or weekly, monthly basis?
Frankly, I just went to Rocket Mortgage.
Rocket Mortgage. Okay.
But, you could also go to your lender of choice. You could find it just by using Google.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Jared,
Yes.
I have a question. Is it true that they passed old DECA FHA like approved today, or is it for tomorrow? Or I think it was today.
I don't
So,
know. I don't know if I'm gonna.
think about that.
I don't know. I have no
Okay.
idea. Yeah, sorry. And what's
I'll
DECA?
just ask like a random.
What's DECA?
I think it's like that program where undocumented people can qualify for a
DACA.
mortgage now, or they're here like on some type of permit.
Got you, DACA. Okay, I sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
No worries. I don't know. That would be great. That would be awesome. I hope so.
Yeah, I saw one of the lenders post like the document on Instagram, but I haven't seen anybody else post it, so I don't know if that's accurate information or not. But I'm assuming he's a broker.
You don't eat, I don't have to.
Yeah. So I mean, I would definitely ask him or her directly, and do some research on that. I don't know though, if I'm gonna be honest. So yeah. So moving forward from the 80s, however, interest rates have been going down steadily. In the 2000s, they were at 8%, and in 2003, they're in the high fives. And then going down to the 2010s, they were the mid 3% range. By 2012, they went back up to about 4.17%. Then they went back in 2014 and 2015. It went back down to 3.85. Then in 2016, the average was 3.65. And eventually the low end, the high end was all the way up to 5.3 in 2018. So obviously we are at historic lows right now. In the 2000s, when COVID hit, in response, the Federal Reserve dropped federal funds rate to between 0 and 0.25%. And this caused the short-term and long-term rates to drop, which is obviously affecting our markets, which is amazing. So, keep that in mind. What is driving the market? Why are, interest rates so low? This is why it's a great opportunity for a lot of buyers, which is, increasing the demand. But for some reason, sellers are a little bit wary about selling in this market for whatever reason. So keep that in mind. We're expecting that to break, however. We've had some record numbers this last month. And what I unfortunately have realized, what a lot of sellers do is, instead of hitting while the iron is hot, they wait until one of their neighbors sells and uses them as the proverbial canary in the coal mine. So yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a question right on this point that you were talking. On the last week, even on the last call that we have, I called a potential seller, and for some reason, the person that gave me that referral was telling me that how that person took the seller the listing out of the market because of the pandemic, because of all these things that is going on. And I was mentioning how the market is for them right now, for the seller, but the concern was on buying another property from the seller, or that person become a seller and then selling the property and then become a buyer. How can I have my comeback game in that point of view?
So I'm trying to, I think I got what you're saying. So they want to sell, but they're scared to buy after they sell?
Correct.
Okay. I get what they're saying, frankly. Are they trying to sell and then buy something cheaper, or buy something more expensive?
Buy something more expensive.
Then what are they worried about?
Yeah,
what I'm saying is interest rates are so low that it's free money right now. They should be going ahead and doing that. They use the sale of their house as their down payment. They go ahead and they get a loan for an extremely low interest rate, and they go ahead and buy. That's the best situation. That's the best scenario they could possibly be in, especially if they know that they're going to be buying something more expensive. So I would push back and go, I'm trying to understand your logic. maybe not in that tone, but I think you got it. I think you just need to so for example, let's role play real quick. So George, you'll be the seller who's scared to buy something more expensive, but they know that they're trying to upgrade. So George, I understand that you want to sell your property, but you're concerned about buying. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And
And you're trying to upgrade, right? You're trying to upgrade your current living situation.
yes, yes. I live close to the beach right now, and I'm trying to be far from it. And I need more room because I'm gonna have another baby, but I don't know if it's the right time to sell.
Well, I mean, right now we're getting record prices because of interest rates.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious. Are you waiting for prices to go down to sell, or you want to take advantage of the market now while it's up?
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah, we should take advantage right now.
Yeah. And also the great advantage of that is you already know that you're booting up to a larger home. So this is a great time for you to get top dollar for your property that you want to sell.
Mhm.
And then from that point, once you sell that property, you can use those proceeds as a down payment to your future home. And once we do that down payment, what your loan rate will look like, we'll have to talk with a lender, but right now interest rates are at an all-time low. So in reality, even if you're worried about buying another house at a quote unquote premium, the interest rates being at 2.6% is going to offset it considerably. Mr. Seller, if you remember back in the 80s, the interest rate was up to 16 point something or rather percent. So if you were to borrow $1 million back in the 80s, you're paying 16% interest on that, which is $166,300. Now, if you borrow that same $1 million today at 2.6%, that's $26,000. Which would you rather do?
Yeah, I have to sell it right now.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. So I mean, I think, frankly, the question shouldn't be should you, it's we should have done it a week ago.
Yeah, it is funny because the person who was a property manager of the property there, like the community, told me that they put the price to sell in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of the quarantine, and they took it out because of fear. Now I was trying to, push them again to sell, but they sent me a message again that they decided to not sell. So I'll give a little bit of time, but probably next week I'm going to come back with them just to have some couple of questions like you did for me.
Yeah, and really when you make that next call, write down all of the, kind of go through it in your head, like what are they going to say no to? They're going to say no to this or no to that, no to this, and write your response to that.
Okay.
And so you're prepared when you get that rejection. And then if they keep saying no, 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 go, okay, well, we've already determined that you can get the best price for your property right now. That's one. So let's take that off of the table. That's not stopping you.
Mhm.
We've already determined that you can get the cheapest amount of money to borrow right now. So that's not what's stopping you either. So we've gone over everything. So just out of curiosity, what else is there that's preventing you from wanting to sell? Because it seems like there's something that we really haven't discussed, because if I'm following what you've been telling me, you want to sell for the highest amount of money possible, which we can achieve. You
Mhm.
want to upgrade your property, which we can achieve. I would assume that you want to borrow money at the lowest, interest rate possible, which we can also achieve. So just out of curiosity, what else is there that's preventing you? Because to me, it's green light, green light, green light. There's not even, I don't even see any red lights. So what is it that's preventing you from wanting to go ahead and put it on the market, and achieve your goals? And frankly, I'm sounding a little bit aggressive right now because we're in a class. I would sound much more, not delicate, but I would sound firm and confident. But I would really just be, curious, coming from a place of curiosity, so I could better serve them. So I mean, that's interesting. Unfortunately, George, I've run into a few people like that myself. And sometimes you just can't really shake them. Now, if you ask Robert Howell, he'll tell you can. And he might be right. And he's great at what he does. But I have absolutely run into circumstances where they can make the most money right now. They can get the cheapest, loan possible right now, which is saving them a lot of money. And they still don't want to sell. And I don't get it. I frankly, I don't, because I don't think what the issue is all the above. I think it's exactly right what you said. It's fear. and fear of uncertainty. And what I usually like to say, whenever somebody's uncertain, anything worth doing is going to be difficult. And if everybody, just waited until it was a sure thing, we would be flooded. The market would be flooded, and that's typically what happens. People wait, and then all of a sudden, everybody hits the market, and then all of a sudden demand starts going down. The market's inundated with excess of listings, and that affects the market in a negative way. So the best time to do this, seller, is to take advantage of the low inventory of the market. And I understand that this is something that is new to you, but this is not new to me. And I can assure you that I wouldn't be recommending you to do this unless I thought it was in your best interest.
That's true.
And you're their fiduciary. You're not going to recommend them to do something if it's not in their best interest. And from what it sounds like, everything that they've told you, it is in their best interest to go ahead and sell. So
Yeah.
So write down some of those things, give it a thought, and so the next time you talk with them, you're prepared to, go over their concerns and their objections.
Yeah, I would do that. I would definitely do that.
All right, buddy. Anytime, bud. Okay. So fun stuff. I love the conversations. Thank you for asking, George. Okay. So another thing that we want to go over in this is when we're doing pricing homes for sale and we're going over local market conditions, that's a big part of it as well. To price accurately and price to sell, you must constantly study the conditions in your local market and in the specific neighborhoods where you want to specialize. Here are some basic factors to watch. Inventory. How much is for sale, and is inventory rising or falling? We have historically low inventory right now, so that is definitely raising demand up. Now, that said, I think we might start seeing a lot more homes hitting the market this spring. Will it be enough to affect it, or will it kind of just be enough to make it even more enticing for some buyers? We don't know yet. We'll find out. Days on market. How long is it taking properties to sell? If you look at how long it's taken properties last year to sell versus this year, it's probably going to be a lot shorter this year, which is great. Price per square foot, a good competitive indicator of price when a group of properties has common qualities and features. That's something we are absolutely going to be looking at today when we do our little exercise and I pick a random home for us to do a CMA on. By the by, the CMA that we're going to do today is not going to be perfect. We are not going to have an opportunity to see what the home looks like currently. We're just going to be going off of old MLS pictures. So we're going to have to do a little bit of inferring. Obviously, as realtors, we want to, at the very least, have a Zoom call so the seller can walk us through their house, show us, the upgrades that they've done or quote unquote upgrades that they think are upgrades that are really not. Kidding. And to really have a good idea of what we're working with. For today's class, we're just going to be going off of pictures, which isn't the best way to do it, but we can get pretty darn close. Changes in the local landscape, monitoring changes in major employers, shopping, schools, other services in the community, and changes in local laws that impact housing. I don't know, everybody on this call might not be in West Los Angeles, but who is taking over the West Side Pavilion? Does anybody know? It's a really big company, starts with a G.
Google?
Oh, wow. Yeah, Google. So Google is taking over an entire shopping mall and getting all these employees to go there. What do you think that's going to do to the market on the West Side, in like Westwood area? It's going to bring demand way up. So even if the market goes down in LA County, that area in West LA is probably going to go up no matter what happens, because you're going to have a whole bunch of people moving to a new area who want to be close to work. So that's something to keep an eye on. There's also other companies like Netflix, they're expanding, all these other different facilities all over the city there's a lot of great opportunities for us to keep our eye on those particular markets, and also use that as a selling strategy. You know, when we're talking to people about selling their houses, remind them that, excuse me, remind them that Google's moving into town, and that's creating a lot of demand for a lot of people. So good stuff. Okay, pricing criteria. Getting the facts about pricing means evaluating a given property against other comparable properties. This means comparing your client's 20-year-old 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in a neighborhood of similarly built homes with homes that sold recently that match or come very close to matching the particulars of their home. The following factors come into play when looking for comparable properties: location, size, amenities, condition. So let me ask you, if a property was built in 1956 and their neighbor's house, and they've never remodeled their house, it has, the exact same, tile, flooring in the bathrooms that they had when it was built in 56. They have linoleum, flooring in the kitchen. They have really old appliances. The kitchen's never seen a facelift, but it's in good condition, but it's never had a remodel, versus the home next door that was built in the same year, but the entire house has been gutted, just completely redone from the inside out. Now the structure is the same, but the interior of the house, it has a Wolf range stove, it has Carrara marble tiling, it has, gorgeous wide plank wood floors, the whole shebang. They've redone the exterior windows to the backyard to be sliding pocket doors. All of these great, amazing features, and it was done tastefully. Are those two properties good comps?
If it's the same amount of bedrooms and bathrooms, I believe.
So maybe not though, because one property hasn't been updated at all, while the other property has been updated. So surprisingly enough, updates and condition really affects price greatly. Even though it was built in the same year technically, because sometimes you can do a remodel where the years show the same year built, but it was remodeled last year and has brand new everything. So sometimes those won't be really good comps.
I have a question.
Yes, Craig.
Okay, so that's basically, an effective age of a property, correct? So like if a property is 20 years old, it was built 20 years ago, but it was just recently gutted and redone from inside out, let's say last year. So that would have an effective age of last year, right? Like 2 years old or something like that. So would you compare it to a house that was built 2 years ago?
Maybe. So yes. So that's where it gets tricky too. So yes, I would though. I would. So for example, if when you're doing construction, a lot of developers, let's say for example they're doing a flip, they don't want to, get permits to build new, quote unquote. So they keep 1 or 2 walls up, and then other than that, they just build around those 2 walls. They save a lot of money on permits for doing that. So it may have been completely remodeled from head to toe, looks like a brand new house. There's only 2 original walls in the entire house, but it still says 1956. Go figure. That house, I would probably compare it to a newly built home. And I would explain that to, potential buyers or the sellers. Now, for example, if they just did very minimal amount of work, and maybe they just, changed out the appliances, changed out the fixtures, changed out the doorknobs, just kind of updated it, gave it a little bit of a facelift. I don't think I would compare those two with that one. So it can get a little bit tricky. And I'll try to use an example of a property. I don't know if I want to use that house actually for this instance, but anyway, I'll try to look for a property that's really good for today's lesson. But that's getting a little bit advanced. So sometimes you will have to use a little bit of feel or intuition, Greg. But you're absolutely right. So if something's completely redone, and there's only 1 or 2 walls that were from the existing house that remain, And for all intents and purposes, it's a brand new construction home, except that they just didn't pull the full rebuild permits. And it shows the year built was 1956 still. Then yeah, you still might want to compare it to some newer homes. But ideally, you might even find a home that was just remodeled, that was very similar to what happened with the home that you have. That would be a perfect home.
Okay.
Yeah, but occasionally you will have to compare it to a new built home. But that's not that's the exception. That's not the rule, if that makes sense. What we're really trying to look for, Greg, is if we have a home that was remodeled and done very tastefully, we're going to look for a home that was also remodeled and done tastefully in the same location, in the same area, and all that.
Got it.
For the same year. That's the rule. That's what we're really looking for. But if we can't find that, then we would maybe go to, okay, maybe we can look for something that was built a little bit sooner. But again, what we're really trying to look for is like kind, like apples to apples. But occasionally we won't find that, and we'll have to use a little bit of our realtor intuition, if that makes sense. Okay, what are current local market statistics in your targeted areas? So everybody, if we can go to page 13 in the material, does anybody have an idea of what is going on in their local area, their local market that they like to focus in on?
I did
Yes.
like a go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
So I don't know the days on market, and I just wrote that down to figure that out, but I did do a little zip code comparison to see how many homes sold in my area per month.
Great.
So I didn't do the days on market, average price per square foot, and how many. Yeah, I didn't do all of that.
Okay, not a problem. So what I'm going to do right now, this is going to be part and parcel of what we're going to be doing when we're creating CMAs. So I'll go ahead and get into it right about now. Can we see my MLS that I'm logging into right now? Let's see. Yes, I believe so. Okay, so I'm going on the MLS right now, and our material today is asking us very specific questions. How are we going to find this material? That's a good question. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Oops. Hold on, give me a second. There we go. Okay, can everybody see my MLS login page right now? Or my main page?
Yeah.
Perfect. So what we were looking at in the material, it said days on market, average price per square foot, how many homes are on the market right now? All that stuff is very important information that we need to be able to get at a moment's notice before we go and do a meeting with a client. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down onto our MLS. We're going to log in. And now that we're in the MLS, we're going to look around for quick links. Now, this might look a little bit different for everybody over here. I didn't mean to click that. 1 second. So this page is going to look a little bit different for everybody. Right now, I have neighborhood snapshot in the top left corner, but if you notice, I can drag it over here and switch it if I wanted to. So yours might look different than mine. I have it organized in whatever way. I actually have never touched it. So it's just the way it's organized right now, but I just want to be very clear that your login page may look slightly different. Okay, so what we're going to want to look for is quick links. And quick links in my page is just to the bottom left of the main one. So I'm looking for 10K info sparks. So now notice on quick links right now, it says neighborhood snapshot. Oh, replacement. Interesting. Did they take that down? Wow, they took it down. Interesting. So we're going to learn something new together, everybody, because I've never seen this. And I wish they would have sent out an email about this. Anyway, quick links is what we're going to go to. So now they have a new neighborhood snapshot, which is replaced InfoSparks. So I used to go to 10K InfoSparks, which was right in the quick links. So let's go ahead and try this all together. This is the first time I'm taking a look at it, admittedly. So new neighborhood snapshot, that's what we're gonna wanna go to get those answers for the question that we were just asked. And what were the questions that they were asking us again? Days on market, price per square foot, how many homes are on the market right now? Hopefully this gives us the same amount of information. Oh my Lord, okay. This looks all different. Okay. Ay. This is interesting. This looks very different. Okay. Huh. Okay, so we're gonna want to click show. There we go. We're gonna want to click show all criteria on this. So again, keep in mind, this is the first time I'm using this new version of InfoSparks. This was a very, very important thing in my career, so I'm a little bit irked that they changed it without sending out an email, but we're gonna learn it together right now. Okay, so we are going over here and we're now in the analytics neighborhood snapshot. We see that it says search by city. We have Beverly Hills tagged out. I'm going to click out of that and I'm going to go Bel Air because I like Bel Air. I'm the Fresh Prince. No, it's not Holmby Hills. I'm going to do City Bel Air. I don't know why this is update report. I guess I have to click update report. Okay, showing homes for sale in Bel Air. It says only 2. I'm very confused as to what is happening in this. I think that there's more homes in Bel Air for sale. Maybe that,
The timeline? The timeline now?
It
Oh,
might
well,
just
it's only
be-
January.
Yeah.
I have 10 homes. I just looked at mine. I have 10.
What are you using, by the way?
What do you mean?
You're saying you're just looking at yours. Are you on this as well?
I'm following along, but I put in my zip code.
Okay. So that's going to be a little bit different than what I'm looking at.
And I use the Sierra MLS, so it's very different from this MLS too.
Well, we're going to get pretty close to not using this right now for the class because I might have to learn what's going on with this and how things have changed. This is not a good change. I will completely be honest with you. The other one was a lot more informative and easier to navigate. That's weird. Okay.
Try different area.
Pardon?
Maybe try a different area.
Well, for my purposes, I want to do this area because this is the area that I work with. Interesting. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a stab at this by myself so we don't take up too much of your time. But typically, so for January 2021, we're looking at homes for sale. It looks like there's 2 new homes that were added for January 2021. That sounds about right. If we look at 2020 and we're looking at the 4th quarter of 2020, okay, so in October, we had 5 homes for sale. In November, we had 3 homes added for sale. In December, we had 2. And, ideally, I'd like to go all the way until 2021. And I guess we have to do it by quarters and timelines. So that's, anyway, it's made it a little bit more complicated. It used to be that you could just do in the past 3 years. the past 1 year, the past 3 months, the past, 1 month. And that was a little bit easier to figure out. This is being done by quarters, so you're going to have to, your brain just going to have to do it a little bit differently, which is not too difficult to do. Just got to get used to it. But anyway, so for this example, this shows how many homes are for sale, how many homes closed. Nothing closed in October, nothing closed in November, and we had 1 closing in December. Pending sales shows nothing. New listings in October, we had 3 days on market. It's showing 16 days on average in December. Month supply of inventory, 5 months, 4 months, and 3 months. So it's going down. Total sold volume, it's saying only 3 million. This is not accurate information. That's very disappointing. I'm actually going to call the MLS about that. But anyway, it is what it is. So ideally, you'd be able to find this information very easily and readily available. They obviously have changed it to this. We'll have to work with this for right now. Don't know what to say. That sucks.
Jared, I have a question. When you make those comps, do you usually use 6 month or 3 month? Just for days on the market, just for those 3 questions? If somebody asks for on a casual basis, is just give like 3 months or a month only?
Right. So ideally, you'd like to find something just a month back, but
Okay.
typically you'll go 3 to 6 months back. So what we're trying to do when we're doing a CMA, and let's just go ahead and go into the CMA because that has not changed, and that I can do fairly easily. Okay, let me just go home off of that. That was really upsetting. That annoyed me, to say the least. Okay, I believe somebody said that they have a listing that we can use for the class. Victoria Munoz, what was the listing that you had? And can you send it in the chat box so I could bring it on up? You there, Victoria? All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll use a different property. I will go into, we can either do CMA, but frankly, what I'd like to do is, let me think of a property. This is a house that I sold a while ago, 2253 Lennington. I hope I spelled that right. I think I didn't. There we go. Okay. So this was my sale that Sharon and I sold. So for this property, what I'd like to do is I'm going to click it. And I'm going to go ahead and do a cloud CMA, create a CMA. So as we see right over here, we can go ahead and just click create a CMA for this property. And ideally, what we'd want to do, if we wanted to get really perfect with our CMAs, we don't want to use the quick and dirty option. And what is that? Quick and dirty, it's by proximity. Automatically find listings near the subject property. Get at least 10 listings. Only go back 1 year for off-market listings. And then we can go into the more criteria, and we can get it really close to what we're looking at. Our subject property is 2253 Lennington Avenue, right there. I'm going to take out the MLS numbers because that's the property that we already just clicked. So we have 18. Hold on, let's see, advanced info. Great. So if we wanted to do this really quick, we were on the phone with somebody. They were like, yeah, I'm available to meet up today. We can do the quick and dirty, but we want to get as much information as possible from the public record as we can to get it as close as possible to our subject property. So this one says it's 1,838 square feet. I'm gonna do, okay. We're gonna wanna go like 10 or 15% below or below and above for our square footage range. So if we look up at 1838, I'm gonna subtract 15%, which is 1562.3. So let's just say 1563. Let's just say 1560. And then we're going to go back up again and do that same number, 1838. And I'm going to press on my calculator, plus 15%, 275. And if you remember that number, you can just add it to
Hi, Jared, can you make this numbers again, if you can?
Sure. Hold on. So it's 2011, 2,103 square feet. Okay, so George, what I was doing is my property, 2253 Lennington.
Mm-hmm.
The square footage on that is 1,838 square feet. All right, are we there?
Yes.
So we're going to take that 1838. We're going to subtract 15%. So if you write down what is 15% of 1838? It's 275.5 square feet. So if we just take 1838, we could minus 275.5, which equals 1562. I went ahead and I just rounded down to 1560. And then we're going to take that 275 number again and add it to 1838, which is 2,113, which is what I have right over here. The beds and baths, we're going to want to try to keep those the exact same, hopefully, ideally. But let's go ahead and say, let's go down to 2 beds and up to 3 beds. Bath, we'll keep it at 2 and 2. We can fudge with that, excuse me. We can fudge with that as much as we want. For example, we might need to go down to 1. We might need to go up to 3. We might need to do a little bit of playing around to find enough properties to justify pricing. But we'll start with this right now. Now the lot size is 6,074 square foot. We're going to want to do the same thing that we did with the square footage of the house. So 6,074 plus 15%. That's 911. We can just take that 911 and take 6,074 minus 911 equals 5,000. My mouse is not working for some reason. 5,163. And then we have that 911 number again, and we're going to add it to 6,074. And that's going to give us a number of 6,985. So with that number, I'm probably just going to round it up to 7,000. Okay. This number right here, I might round it down to 5,000. Okay. Now, so we have everything pretty much filled out. It should have year built. It's not showing that right now, but that's okay. And we're going to go ahead, and now we have pretty much most of the info that we need. We're going to go ahead and click fetch listings. I'm going to say client name, practice. Fetch listings. And it's loading. So this is great. So we have 8 sold listings. Our subject property is going to be listed as that big blue house right there. That's our property that we're referring to. And we're going to try to find houses that are within this area that are really, really close by. Now, what I'd like to point out, I know this area pretty well. If you go past Olympic, the prices are slightly different. If you go too far down towards the 405, the prices are slightly different. I would not go all the way down over into this area, for example. So right now, I'm looking at some of these prices just because of proximity. I'm going to go ahead and click this one, 2119 Linnington. That looks great. This one looks good too. And they're very similar in style, by the way, which I like. This the house that I'm referring to is a Spanish style, so that's good. Greenfield looks like it might be a decent comp as well. So is Veteran. I'm going to take this one off because it is on the market. I'm going to take this one off because it is on the market. We want things that have sold. Things that have sold, we can, you know, that's hard data. That's not, you know, theoretical data. I want to exclude anything that is well outside of the area. Give me a second. My dog is going nuts. Oh. Hello, everybody. This is my dog, Archer. He's a little bit whiny today, so he's going to sit on my lap. Okay, so we have 6 houses right now that I have selected. I just want to make sure I don't have anything that is completely not appropriate. These ones work, that one works, that one works, that one works, that one works. Okay, so this looks fine. Let's see, just want to make sure I don't have anything that I don't need. Clicked. Great. So this is a really quick down and dirty kind of version of a CMA. I don't want that one clicked. I might want to take a look at Selby. That is an apartment. I don't want that clicked. Hilton, that one's fine. That one's fine. This one's fine. Great. Okay. So now we have 4 properties that are selected. The low has been sold for 1.5 million. The high has been sold for 1.8 million. We're going to go click over here, price guide and suggestions. It's saying that due to the square footage and the average price per square foot being $991, we should be looking at a sales price between 1.673 and 1.776. So let's go ahead and use those numbers because I think that these are pretty solid numbers, knowing the area. Frankly, looking at some of these homes, I can look at them in a little bit more depth and detail. Veteran Ave, this one seems to, you know, be fairly nice on the interior. It's cute. It's been staged. I like it. It seems like it's fairly original, which is okay. So great. That seems like it's a pretty good comp. Let's keep going down. I want to look at Greenfield, excuse me. This property was on the market for 10 days, sold for 1.5. I'm going through the pictures right now. It sold for $898 a square foot. Cute little backyard. Definitely a fixer on the inside, if we can look at that. Was it staged? I feel that they did not get as much money as they possibly could have, mainly because of the condition of the interior of the home. And so that's going to affect it, obviously. So this is a decent comp. I know that the house that we clicked has been renovated since it was sold. So I don't know what it looks like on the interior right now, but I'm assuming it's updated. So this might not be a perfect comp. I might want to take that out. I'm going to look to see if there's any updated homes that we can use as an example. This one, oh wow. This one was right on Lennington, which is the same exact neighborhood. I love it. I don't know why I didn't get that listing. I'm going to have to look into this. Cute, cute, cute. Love it. Let's see. The interior looks like it's been updated over the years, but not 100% updated to modern standards. But it's definitely, you know, wouldn't be considered a fixer. It would kind of be considered a, you know, move-in ready home that just needs a little facelift maybe. Okay. Going down a little bit more, we have another one that sold for 1.8 on Kelton. This one's gorgeous. It looks like it has definitely been updated. I'm looking at that fireplace. It's probably original, but they've, you know, redone it. I know the homes in this area, so it looks to have been tastefully done. The kitchen has been remodeled. These homes were built actually in the 1930s. So looking at these properties, it's interesting to see what they've done on the inside of them. So this one might be a better comp, frankly, for comparatively to the other properties. And that's what we got so far. So knowing that the house has been updated, I'm going to take this property off the radar, which is Greenfield. Veteran looks, you know, pretty good. It hasn't been updated, but, you know, they've done some nice touches, repainted it, stuff like that. That sold for 1.6. So that's going to actually change my numbers quite a bit now. So now it's telling me that they're recommending a sales price of 1.7 to 1.8. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and click that number. It's going to automatically populate that into the suggested sales price. I feel like I'm confident with my numbers right now. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. There we go. I just want to click back and show you what this property looks like. Even though this was not when it was remodeled, I just want to give you an idea of the property that we're looking at and using for selling purposes. So let's say this is what it looks like. It's cute little Spanish style. The interior looks like it's nice and bright. We have some modern furniture in there for the staging. Super cute. We have like a little seating area for the dining. Here's the kitchen. Obviously, it could use some updating. It's not perfect. The bedrooms have some nice staging in it. It's presented nicely. The paint is, you know, continuous throughout. The flooring looks continuous. The backyard, it's there. All that good stuff. Hi, Archer. Yes. Okay. Hi. So what we're going to do from here, now that we have our properties, we're going to go ahead and click Customize Report. So what we're doing right there is we're reviewing all the properties that we were going over. We're making sure that they're, you know, fairly similar in style and condition. I took a couple of the properties out that were just complete, you know, fixers, and that's what we're using. So what I like to include in my CMA is a title page. The title page looks a little something like this. Comparative market analysis, 2253 Lennington Avenue, Los Angeles, California. The client's name is Practice. Gives the date, has my little picture there, my name, the brokerage that I'm with. Looks good. Okay, contact me. I definitely want them to contact me, so I include that. Has a great picture of my cheesy grin. Jared Medlinski, Keller Williams, my logo that I like to use. Okay, Archer, there you go. my number, my DRE, my email address, my website, which by the by, I don't use this one anymore, so I need to take that out. Great. Map of all listings, I think is really, really beneficial. It gives an idea of where all the properties are situated in comparison to the property that I'm using. They're all within the same neighborhood. That looks great. We're looking at the comparables. It's a 3-bed. This should have 3-bed, 3-bath. The square footages are within the same range. 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath. These are perfect comps. These are actually, we got lucky. Usually when we do a quick and dirty, sometimes you might get a couple properties that are not perfect. These ones happen to be right on the money. So that's good. Okay, summary of comparable properties. It just describes sold date, how many beds, how many baths, the square footages, the price, and the price per square foot that it was sold. Details, listing chapters. This is just a divider that says listing chapter. Details, it'll give the details of the properties on this page.
Jared,
Yes.
are you sharing your screen or is my screen like just messed up?
Oh, I thought I was sharing my
I'm
screen.
not
No.
seeing anything for like the past 20 minutes either.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything.
Yo, why don't you speak up?
See it now. Yeah, okay.
I'm like, am I tripping? Is it just me?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Everybody, feel free to interrupt me if I'm not showing something right. You know, don't be afraid. So thank you for saying something. But yes, sorry about that. I thought I was.
Okay, start over.
Oh God. For the last 20 minutes. Great. Okay. Let me go back. Okay. Well, thank you for better late than never. Okay, no worries. Thank you though. Let me go back. Okay, back to criteria. Okay. We're going to start all over. All right. So if any time my screen stops sharing, please let me know. But it's all good.
Okay, and so wait, where did you go? Where is this at? Like,
Oh,
what
damn.
program is this?
Oh, damn. Okay. Let's go back. Hold on 1 second. Let me reshare all of this. I'm not that great with technology, so bear with me. Okay, share screen. We're gonna go here. So we are on the MLS, and I typed in the property address that I wanted to use. So I have a listing appointment with the owner of 2253 Lennington Avenue. So this is just the straight up MLS. I just basically typed in the address. That's how I found this property. You might get a blank screen for the property. It might not have a picture. Obviously, if you've met with the people before and you've seen that the property is updated and that it has, upgrades, you might not have a picture of that, but you'll keep that in mind while you're pricing the property. For this class, for conversation purposes, we're going to pretend that this property looks exactly like it does right now. Let me make sure I'm sharing the screen. There we go. Okay, let me just make sure. Is there another one? Let me just do this. I think this will be a little bit better. Can you see 2253 Lennington in the pictures right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just changed the picture. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's pretend that we know that this property looks exactly like this right now. All right, so we're going to look at the property condition. We're going to take a look at, around, let's pretend these pictures are us actually walking through the house. We see that, oh, it's paint, there's continuity in all the different rooms. It's, styled nicely, stuff like that. So this is what the house looks like currently. All right. So keep that in mind while we're going through all the other properties that we're going to go through. Okay. So we have this selected. Did we go back to the main screen of the MLS page?
We're good.
Okay, so we have 2253 Lennington selected. I just selected it right now. I'm going to go up to the top banner right here where it says print, PDF, share, directions. I'm going to click on Cloud CMA.
Got it.
So we're going to create a CMA max 50 listings. That's fine. We're never going to have that many listings. Ideally, we want 3 perfect comparable properties. So the first thing that we need to do, are we on the create CMA report right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So client is going to be practice. We're going to enter the subject property. Now, right now, because I clicked this, it's thinking that I want to use this as a comp. I don't, but I'm just using this kind of as a placeholder. So right now I'm going to write 2253 Lennington 90064. That's perfect. And it's going to auto populate 1338 square feet, 3 beds, 2 baths, property type residential, advanced information. It's going to give me the year built, the lot size, and that's not really applicable, but that's what it's going to give us. Does everybody see what's on my page right now?
Mm-hmm.
Square footage, 3 beds, advanced info. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take that out right now. And we're going to click approximate, automatically find listings near the subject property. Get at least 10 listings. Go back 1 year for off-market listings. More criteria. I want to make sure that this is as close as possible. So we're going to go with beds, 3 beds only. And baths, 2 baths only. I want it to be as identical as possible to our subject property. I really want to get it right on the money. Now, obviously, square footage might differentiate between property and property. That has to do with the lot size. It has to do with, you know, whatever. But the beds and the baths can be pretty much spot on. So if I take that 1838 number that I'm looking at right now, that I'm circling my mouse around, that's the square footage of the house that is our subject property. We are going to take 1838 and we're going to add 15%, which is 275 approximately. So that's going to be 2,000. We're going to go down to our quick and dirty, more criteria, to the square footage. We're going to go 15% below and 15% above. So right now I did 15% above, which is 2,113 square feet. And the number was 275, if I remember correctly. So we're going to go 1838 minus 275. And that's going to be 1563. The 1560, I'm just going to do 1560. And for this one, I will just keep it at 2,100. Great. So right now my beds are 3 bed, 3 bed, 2 bath, 2 bath, 2 bath. Square footage, 15% below, 15% above. Lot size, I'm going to want to do the exact same thing. So it's 6,074 square feet is our subject property's lot size. I'm going to add 15%, which is 911. So we're going to do, so that was basically 6,074 square feet plus 911, which is 15% of the number, is going to be 6,985. Oops, 85. We're going to go back up to the lot size again. We're going to type in our calculator, 6074. I'm doing all of this on my phone. It's nothing too fancy. We're going to subtract 911, which gives us 5,163. I'm just going to write 5,160 just to give it an even rounded off number. And just for fun, I'm going to change this to 7,000. Just because I want to get as much, you know, that's comparable as possible. Okay, so right now we have our subject property, which is 2253 Lennington. We've seen some pictures of it just a second ago. The square footage is 1838. It's a 3 bed, 2 bath. It's a residential property. The year built was 1927. The lot size is 6,074. We've gone down to our quick and dirty. Again, sometimes you might need to do it the long way, which is, you know, searching for properties in that area that are similar to it and then selecting them individually. But for this, I know that there's enough sales data that we can do quick and dirty. And great. So right now we have all the information that we need. Everything looks to be, you know, apples to apples. We're going to go ahead and click fetch listings. Let me know if the page changes once it comes up. I'll just double check real quick when it comes up. Okay, so right now, does it say organized listings?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so right now we have 8 sold properties and 2 active properties. There are some agents who like to include active properties. I do not. That is theoretical data. That is not hard data. I don't think that those are comparable. We can use that as an example of what our competition is right now, but that is not part of a CMA. That doesn't make sense to be a part of a pricing strategy guide. You could use it as, look at our competition. If we're priced over here, don't you think we're going to get, you know, more eyes than them? But that's not, you know, part of a pricing strategy based on hard data. Now, another thing that we're going to want to keep our eyes on. Hold on, let me see if I have my mouse in my, 1 second. There we go. This will be a lot easier. There we go. Okay. So right now, the blue home that's in the center of the screen of the map is our subject property. This is 2253 Lennington, this blue little dot right here. We want to pick the homes that are within the same neighborhood. Now, the MLS considers everything that's on the screen to be a comp. I know this area very well. I know that anything that is south of Pico Boulevard is not going to be a good comp for this neighborhood. So this 1.73, I'm going to click it out. This 1.65, I'm going to click it out. And I don't want it to be included in our comps. Now, anything that is above or north of Olympic has slightly different pricing, but frankly, if it's really, really close on the border, I'll include it. So this 1.82, I'm going to include it. However, this one is all the way past Santa Monica, which is an entirely different neighborhood. I am not going to include that. I'm also not going to include this one. That neighborhood is just priced completely differently. Now, this one on Greenfield, it says it sold for 1.5. That's interesting. That seems to be a lot less than a lot of the other homes. So I'm going to click over here on details and adjustments so I can take a look at it and see what's going on with this house. If we remember, the house that we're looking at is cute, it's charming, it looks updated. At least the furniture in there looks updated, and it's presented very well. Now this property on Greenfield, ooh, that has some pretty ugly carpet and some pretty ugly shelving, and I don't know what's going on over here. It looks like a window. I don't think that this is a good comp, frankly, looking at it. It's very dated. The layout's very dated. The wallpaper's looking very dated. It doesn't present itself in the same fashion. The kitchens, frankly, look similar. I'll give them that. But it's not presented in the same light as our property is going to be presented. So I'm going to go click it out. I'm not going to include that one. Remember, this is what our property looks like. Can everybody see what our property looks like?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is what our property looks like. Gorgeous exposed beams, you know, hardwood floors, it's staged, it's super cute, all that good stuff. And again, staging really does wonders, frankly, for properties. It really makes them show so much better. Okay, so going back to our CMA, would you agree that this property does not really compare to the one that we're representing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have a yellow sunroom. You know, this is a little hodgepodgey. It looks like this has pink walls with some yellow walls, a pink bathroom, really old carpet that's never been changed out. It's just they're not comparable. This is like a land value kind of price, sales price, and it sold for 1.5. That makes sense. It looks like land value. The list price sold for $898 per square foot. Doesn't exactly look like apples to apples. Now, if we go over to here, this is on Lennington, which is pretty close by. It's just down the street. This property, I'd say it looks similar. It's not exactly entirely updated, but it's done, whatever was done tastefully. It's, the walls and the paint seems to be continuous throughout. The kitchen's green, but that's just a little bit of paint. It's not too big of a deal. Looks like they had some modern upgrades. They have recessed lighting. So that's a plus on top of our home. But I like it. So I'm going to use that as one of our comps. Let's see. This one sold for 1,687. This one is on Veteran. I think this is a perfect comp, frankly. This looks very similar to our subject home. I'm definitely going to include this one in our CMA. Now, admittedly, the kitchen seems to have been updated slightly in comparison to our property. It looks like they put in like a granite or a granite-like backsplash and countertop. The flooring seems original like our property. The bathroom seems original like our property. Everything else seems pretty much apples to apples. So I like this property a lot. Now, does anybody know what functional obsolescence is?
Yes, a little, I believe.
Okay, it looks like there's an apartment next to this place. I don't know. So that might affect its value a little bit. Who knows? I can't tell by the picture. So some of these properties I like, some of them I don't, but they're actually pretty spot on. So this one was Lennington. Let's see if we have another one over here. This one was on Kelton. This one was slightly updated, but the bones have been, remain the same. I think this is a great comp for our property. They added a new light fixture. That's an easy, upgrade that we could do with our property should we bring it to market. The kitchen is updated, which is, definitely a selling point, but I like it. I think that this is a really good comp as well. The bathrooms have been definitely updated, so that's a plus onto ours. But as far as showability, I think that these are, closer to each other than, for example, the property, I forgot which one it was. I think it was Greenfield. Yeah, Greenfield. So it's kind of in between Greenfield and, Lennington and Kelton. So maybe I might want to include Greenfield just for fun. So, okay, so we have 4 properties now that we're including in our CMA. We're going to go ahead right now, and now we see over here it says subject property 2253 Lennington, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1838 square feet, 1927 was the build. I'm going to click, it says set price right here. I'm going to click price guide and net sheet. When I do that, it's going to come down and show me all these different, factors and numbers for me to take a look at. So the low sold for 1.55 million. The high sold for 1.840. The median and the average are 1.754 and 1.724 respectively. I like that. I like those numbers. I think that makes sense. I don't think it's going to sell for 1.8 because obviously we need to redo the bathrooms and we might want to redo the kitchen. But other than that, it looks pretty similar as far as, showing factors. So I'm going to agree with these numbers right here. 1.766, that sounds about right on the money. I might actually want to lower this down a little bit. And maybe say 1.766 to 1.8. Oops. Is that right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's what I want to do it at. Okay, so let's go ahead and click all the way down, customize report. It's going to customize a report for us based on the listings that we selected. And then we end up on customize CMA report. Does everybody see that right now? Customize CMA report?
Yes.
Awesome, very cool. So, okay, so what we're gonna do from here, we have our title page, which is gonna be a comparative market analysis. It's going to show an overhead view of the property that we're talking about with the star. It has the address, 2253 Linnington. The client's name is Practice, January 20th, 2021. That's today's date. It has my name, my brokerage, all that good stuff. Contact me. I definitely want them to be able to contact me. It has my beautiful face, Jared Medlinski, my logo, my number, and all that fun stuff so they can go ahead and contact me. Moving down, we have a map of all the listings. Clearly, they're all within the same area. These three listings just happen to be a few blocks down, but those neighborhoods are pretty, equivalent, frankly. I actually think that this house is in a better location. It has easy proximity to the parks, to walking distance. There's a couple of restaurants nearby the property, the Stalking Horse, which is a great little gastropub. Marty's is over here. Apple Pan is like right around over here somewhere. And this is a great school. This is Westwood Elementary Charter. It's a fantastic school district. I like it. These all make sense to me. Now I'm looking down over here. It says all the different properties. Now, clearly, we're looking at some of these properties right now. We're all apples to apples. Within 15% of our square footages, we all have 3 beds. We all have 2 baths. Our square footage is 1838. We are on the higher end of the square footage. But again, I want to remind everybody that just because we're on the higher end of the square footage doesn't mean that we necessarily get the most money per square foot. Some of these houses were updated more than our subject property, so we have to keep that in mind. So that's that. So that's why I didn't want to be all the way up at 1.84, for example. I wanted to be like 1.8 is like the highest I think it'll sell for. So we're going to go down over here, summary of comparable properties. That'll give us an in-depth guide to seeing when properties have sold. The most recent sale in the area was 1224. That is a smaller square footage. That was that one house that was a complete fixer. That sold for $931 per square foot. That was also one of the smallest houses on the list. But that's a good indication that we could get a pretty good sales price for our property, because that one was a complete teardown, if we remember. Veteran Avenue, that was the second most recent sale. That one was 1724 square foot, sold for slightly more money per square feet, which is great. And it was a higher square footage, so it sold for a higher sales price. Now we're gonna go down to Linnington. This is on the same street as ours. It is across Olympic Boulevard, but that's okay. That sold for $1,822,000 at $935 per square feet. So it's in between these two. And then Kelton, which is the one that was, frankly, much more done as far as the interior is concerned. And that sold in October. So that's the oldest listing that we have on here, but it's still, within, the right time frame. And that was one of the smaller properties, actually. And that sold for $1,000 something per square foot. Now, smaller properties tend to go for more dollars per square foot. That's something that I've noticed. That's not applicable to all areas, but in this area, that is certainly the truth. And that's just from doing my own, data on the area. Okay, so all this stuff looks good. We have our closing chapter over here on the left-hand side of this. We might want to add some additional things. So we've done the maybe in the analysis, Seller's net sheet, I don't really use that because you have to input a lot of stuff and it's different for everyone. I usually tell the escrow company to provide the sellers a net sheet before I go to a listing. So if you want to, go to Pele in our office, ask for a seller's net sheet, and she'll be able to do that for you. Closing, I like to include a marketing action plan. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign, and you'll notice it goes all the way down over here. I might want to put that above list price. Let's see, commission distribution, why you need a real estate professional, intelligent pricing and timing. I like that one. First impressions are lasting, boom. Staging your home, boom. Showing open house checklist, boom. Moving checklist, boom. Features that sell, I'll include that. Listing paperwork overview, nope, I don't want to get them bored. Commission distribution, if the person has already made you feel like they're going to be bargaining with you, you might want to include that, but it's not necessary. This is mainly an information packet for them anyway. Let's see. Suggested list price, I want that to be at the end. And sometimes, frankly, class, I don't include a suggested list price. Oftentimes, I will not include that last page, mainly because I want to get them to tell me what they think it should be sold for. And depending on where they end up, if they're a little bit high, I might start going over, this CMA a little bit more in depth with them, and say, okay, great, you think it's worth this much? How does this house compare to your house? Is it more updated? Is it larger? Is it in a better location? Okay, great. So this house has a better kitchen, has better bathrooms, it is more updated in the interior, and the location is better. You're saying that you think your house is going to sell more than that one? And then they go, oh, shoot. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'm a little bit high. Okay, so a little bit below that. Great. And then we go to the next house. So how about this house? Can we explain to me like where you think this house would, compare to your property? And oftentimes you'll be able to get them in between two homes. So for example, let me just show you what I would do in that situation. So right now I like what I have over here. I'm going to go ahead and publish the report. Once I publish the report, it's going to go into this folder that it's going to kick us out to that has all of my other, that's interesting. I only have one? That's not accurate. Maybe they deleted it. Back to CMAs. There we go. So these are all I have quite a few CMAs. I have over 101 CMAs that I've done in my career already. So let's go to this one that we just created. This is the old one that we created. This was one that we just did right now. So let's go to view PDF. Let's take a look at what our CMA looks like right now that we've completed it. So again, like I was saying, if, for example, I'm talking to a client who's telling me that their house, 2253 Lennington, is worth 1.825, let's say. They think it's worth 1.825, all right? Let's take a look at what has sold close to that. So we have two properties that have sold at 1.822 and 1.840. So they think they're between these two properties. Now remember, our property, 2253 Lennington, looks nice on the inside, but let's be honest. The lighting that's above this table, it's pretty old. There's no recessed lighting in here. There's no wall lighting that's been installed over here. The kitchen is very original and pretty standard. The appliances probably need to be replaced. That refrigerator is pretty old. That range is not too old, but pretty old. The tile is pretty, looks fairly country, I'd like to say. It's you know, it's like a country kitchen, something like that, but not like a modern one. It's, you know, pretty dated. Yeah, they have a little breakfast nook. That's great, but there's no recessed lighting. We have a overhead lighting in this room, but it's, you know, a very small overhead lamp. You know, there's some stuff that could be updated is what I'm getting to with my point. You know, this overhead ceiling fan looks pretty old and dated. There's some recessed lighting in this room, but it, again, just by judging by the looks of it, is some pretty old stuff, maybe done 20 years ago. And these are all the things that I want to keep in consideration when I'm looking at these other properties. So they say that they want to sell at 1.825, but we know that this property could use a little bit of a facelift. Now the kitchen looks, bathroom looks cute, but it's certainly not updated. Okay, so let's go back to our CMA that we're going over. And Lennington and Kelton are the closest ones to what they want their price to be, their house to be sold for. So let's go down to Lennington. Bear with me. Okay, Lennington. So this property is more square footage. It's a bigger house. It's on a similar street. And let's take a look at the inside. Now, as we can see on these pictures, they have recessed lighting everywhere. It looks like, you know, they've done some modern upgrades. The kitchen is completely remodeled, as we can see. The bedrooms have, you know, recessed lighting. The flooring looks fairly original, but, you know, other than that, it's been nicely maintained and updated. They have updated sliding glass doors that go out to the backyard. So obviously, if I were talking to a seller who wanted to sell at the same price, I'd say, okay, well, great. Tell me why your house, you know, should sell for a higher sales price than this property. And then they're going to go in and they're going to go, oh, okay, shoot. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The kitchen is a little bit more updated. You know, the recessed lighting. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. And so, okay, great. Well, let's go back down to Kelton as well. How does your property differ from this property? Has a gated entry, has some nice landscaping. The pavers are really, really nice in the front courtyard area. Let's take a look at the pictures. You know, sure, some of the walls look similar, but we can see that the kitchen's been updated again. There's recessed lighting. The bathrooms, if I remember correctly, were updated. They're not shown in this picture, but I would probably show them those properties and ask them, how does your property compare to this property? Does that make sense, everybody? Anybody?
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna basically kind of pin them down, and we're gonna go all the way down through all of this. We're gonna go through our intelligent pricing and timing. We're gonna go over our marketing action plan. These are all very important things. So for example, below are a few services that I can provide as a part of my marketing of your home. So for example, we're going to enter into the MLS, put up a for sale sign in the yard, install a lockbox, schedule a time, shoot professional property photos, determine an open house schedule and expectations, review showing procedures, prepare a property flyer, syndicate listings to real estate website, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor, and more, advertise in the hot property section of the LA Times, pitch listing to 4 different brokerages in Beverly Hills, Rodeo Realty, the agency Hilton and Highland, and Coldwell Banker, work with my brokerage, and send out to all Keller Williams brokerages worldwide, social media presence and targeted advertising, custom property website and SEO search engine optimization, advise if staging is needed or not, aerial or drone footage and property views, and more. The second week, we're going to invite brokers and agents to tour the home, begin to agent. So my point is not only is this CMA designed to help them understand what their home is worth, I'm also selling myself to them. I'm also showing that I know what I'm doing when it comes to marketing a house. The ongoing activities is showing properties, potential buyers, following up with internet leads, monitor marketing, whatever, et cetera. So before I get into the pricing with these people about their house, I want to go over intelligent pricing and timing. I want to show them that this is something that we actually went over in the class, the previous class, that if you have market value price, you're going to get 60% of the buyers in that market looking at your home. If you're 10% below market value, you're going to get 75% of that market share of people going to take a look at your property. Obviously, we want the bigger lion's share, and hopefully we can even create a bidding war on the property. So I usually advise to be anywhere between 5 and 10% below market value, so we get the lion's share or the unfair share advantage of the potential buyers in the market. Now, weeks on market. This is also a very important thing. Within the first 2 weeks, we should have the bulk of all the people looking at the home. And we should have an offer within the first 2 weeks. If we don't, we may have to look at our pricing. So this is what I'm doing right now is I'm gearing them up to basically set the expectation that if we want the house to be sold quickly and for the most amount of money possible, we need to be somewhat competitive in our pricing, at least our list price, so we can expect to get more traction and more activity on the home, and then ideally a bidding war, which believe me will happen. We go over staging the home and how it really affects the sales price. We have a showing and open house checklist. We have some things that we're setting them up for success, talking about different things we want to clean up before showings. We have a moving checklist for them, all that fun stuff. So we're building confidence in our ability to sell the property. Now, once we get down to it, we're getting down to our suggested list price. Again, remember I said I don't always put this into my CMA. And the reason is because I want to ask them, what do they feel their house is worth? I might print this out and hold this on for my copy, but the copy that I give to them does not have this page included in it. And the reason is because I know that this is where I want them to be, because I'm the professional and I know that this is what will sell. But ultimately it's up to the seller what price we list a house for. So then I'm going to ask them, what do you feel your house is worth? And we're going to go over those numbers. And if I have to, I'll go and remind them that, hey, well, some of these comps were a little bit more updated. Now, I don't think it's worth 1.5 like that one house we saw, which is a total tear down, but I also don't think it's worth 1.840. So that's how we're going to kind of get them. And we're going to kind of just play a little ping, back and forth between 1.5 and 1.8. And then eventually we're going to get down to hopefully 1.766. And that's how I would use a CMA and how I would, create a CMA for a listing appointment. And I suggest you do something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Everybody has their own styles and techniques, but this is exactly what I would do. Are there any questions in regards to the CMA now that we've gone through that exhaustive exercise? And what do you think you would do differently? Any questions that you have in regards to getting to this endpoint or this process? Not all at once. All righty, sounds good.
No questions. Sorry, I don't have any questions, but that was a lot. So
So that was a very, very fast-paced, version of what a CMA is, but that's essentially what we're trying to do and trying to achieve. We can go through this entire 37 pages, but it's pretty much going to tell you the exact same thing. I've learned how to do CMAs based off of exactly what we're going to go over in this chapter. So obviously, when we're pricing homes, what we're trying to convey to the sellers is that we want to be priced competitively versus the comps. So we want to be inside the market, not in no man land, and definitely not on the outside of the market. So a couple things that we want to discuss with our sellers when we're going over competitive pricing and strategies. And we have a few scripts that we can go over real quick. And so once we're getting through these scripts, we'll go ahead and break for the day and we'll be done. So if I can just have your attention for the next 10, 15 more minutes and we'll be done. If I could have, let's see. David, are you there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do me a favor, read this script for me. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, know what you can control and what you can't control.
Just that little paragraph right there.
Yep.
Okay, so do we do like a role play or do I just literally read it?
Yeah, let's do role play. I'm the seller.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Seller, some of the things you can control during the selling process are the condition of your property, the availability of your home for showings, and your position in the market. But in the end, value is determined solely by what a buyer is willing to pay in today's market based on comparing your home to others currently on the market for sale. I don't determine value, and neither do you. Market determines the value. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it totally does. So how are we going to determine, what does the market look like?
Well,
that's why I prepared the CMA for us to review.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So essentially what we're trying to do there with that script is prep them to know that we could throw a price on anything. But the truth of the matter is the market is what's going to determine the sales price for the home. I can't control that. You can't control that. And the only thing we really can do is condition and price. That's the only things that we can work with. So if we want a really, really high sales price, we might have to work on the condition. If we just want to, be the most economical and get this thing sold as quickly as possible, we're going to want to focus on price. Now, if we remember, real quick, I just want to show that one property that was a little rinky-dinky. Hold on, let me Okay. So is this the property I wanted to show? I hope it is. Uh-oh, no, hold on. Huh, for some reason, Veteran is not showing the pictures. That's weird. Oh yeah, it is, okay. Oh no, that's not the one that I wanted. Greenfield, okay. So Greenfield is the property that sold at 1.5 million. Remember that one? It looks like this. I want everybody to look really closely at this this property real quick. So do you notice that the wallpaper is pretty dated? Come on, y'all.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So this property is in almost identical condition to the property that I listed that I'm using as our comp before we staged it and before we painted it. I kid you not. So do we see the importance of staging a property? So let's look at this, this property real quick. This is not letting me show the picture for some reason or another. Great. Okay. So does this look a lot different from this property now? I honestly think that the staging makes a huge difference in just how it presents itself. So if knowing that even in a higher market, that property sold at 1.555, and over 2 years ago, I sold this property for pretty much 1.7, just because I staged it. That's a huge glaring indicator that staging a property will help sell it for a much higher sales price. So when we're talking to them about price and condition, we also want to remember that we can utilize Keller Williams Renew or Refresh, I believe is what it's called. We have a new program. I might be getting the name wrong, but we have in-house stagers that can go ahead and do minor repairs. For example, painting the entire living room so it looks a little bit nicer. For example, bringing in stagers so it looks really nice and clean. We had them redoing the grout lines in this living room over here. A lot of stuff actually went into making this property look the way it does. We did a semi-transparent stain on the wood beam so it looked a little fresher. We repainted the exterior of the house as well. So all of these things ended up adding to the appeal to the property. We had like a little outdoor eating area in the front yard, which everybody seemed to love. The water fountain in the front, surprisingly enough, was not working when we took the listing, but we got it repaired. So all these little tiny things help to make the house that much more desirable. So we don't sell it for 1.5, we sell it for 1.7. So I mean, really, honestly, if you think about it, that's 5, 6, 7. That's $200,000 extra for $15,000 worth of staging and improvements. So I always tell my sellers before, during these, whatchamacallits, that staging does help. Staging is very, very important. Okay, good stuff. Obviously, the window of opportunity, we're going to get the most amount of people looking at our property within the first 2 weeks. We want to make sure that it's priced appropriately. We don't want to chase the market. We want to price ahead of it. If the price is going in a raising market, price the seller wants, when they get it, it's probably going to be about 2 weeks, in about a 2-week period of time. And believe me, you can't underprice a house. I've never seen it happen. You're just going to get a million multiple offers, and it's just going to go up, 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 and up. So don't ever worry about underpricing a house. The worst thing that we can do is overprice a house. It is the absolute worst. Because unfortunately, we see in this depiction right over here that if we have a price that the seller wants that's unrealistic, they're going to try to wait it out, and hopefully that the market's going to go up, or that one buyer that's out there is going to come up and catch them. And then when they realize they need to do a price correction, the market has already fallen too far, and they're just chasing it, and it's just like they're never going to catch it. So this little pictogram I really, really like a lot, and I've used it in some of my marketing materials. Also, don't be afraid to be professionally honest. Pricing right is hard work, but it's worth it because it gets your seller to their goals, and you might make money for your business. So professional honesty is your best approach. It means understanding where the customers are coming from and being professional enough to stand up for them and tell them the truth about the tough topics, such as market conditions, property conditions, features, amenities, and location, buyer and buyer agent feedback, comparable property sales. So here's another little script. Agent, do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? I have used that before, and it works. If the seller insists on a higher than market price, get an agreement now that if you have not had a bona fide offer in a reasonable short time period, you will reduce the price to your recommended price. So this is the script for that. The first few weeks your home is on the market are the most critical and will attract the most serious buyers. If we don't get a bona fide offer in this time, the market is telling us the home is overpriced. If after 3 weeks, this is what's happening, do you agree to reduce the price to my recommended price to meet the market demands? And if it's a serious seller, they'll probably say yes. If they're just kind of wanting to see if they can get some high in the price, you might want to take the listing, but you might want to realize that you shouldn't give, all your attention to that one, because it's probably not going to sell for a very long time, and it's just going to be a bit of an exercise. Anyway, so let's, I think we can kind of sum it up over there, because there's really not too much more in this chapter. But do we have any questions about CMAs? Awesome.
This is the first time I see one even get, completed. So I think, as I see it a little bit more often, I'll probably have more questions as I, started preparing by myself, or whenever I need one for a property that I'm either going to list or help a buyer with. So, but this was a good like, overview for me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jared,
Yes.
so do you do this with buyers? Someone just told me yesterday, another agent just told me yesterday that he kind of does a CMA. Serious?
Yep. So for example, if I have a buyer, I only do it with buyers when we're writing an offer. So if we're writing an offer, that's when I'll go ahead and do a CMA for the buyer. If we're just going to look at the property, that's a lot of work to put into just a showing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Now they may request one ahead of a showing. And what I sometimes will say is, you know, I can do a really quick CMA for you, and I do it on my HomeSnap app. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, I woke up really early for the Biden inauguration, and I'm sleepy. Sorry. And what I'll do is I'll send them like a quick rough down and dirty CMA, and I'll just say, listen, this is a quick CMA, but let's go take a look at the property first and see if we even want to write an offer on it. And if they do want to write an offer on it, then I'll go ahead and send them a CMA to justify the price, or to say it's overpriced, or to say it's underpriced. Personally, I think it's easier to get a property that's overpriced because they're not going to get a lot of competition on it. It's just been my experience. And I can often get the home sold for well under asking. Usually properties that are overpriced have been sitting on the market for quite a while. Anyway, I'm dealing with an escrow right now that's supposed to close today. Anyway, so yeah, so sometimes I'll do a CMA for buyers, but usually only when we're writing an offer. Okay, so for the remaining last pages from page 22 onward. Oh wait, no, just kidding. I thought it was a sample CMA. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's actually the end of the class. So good. That's pretty much what CMAs are. They're pretty self-explanatory. They're a little bit tricky to really master and make sometimes, but the more you practice it, the better you'll become. I recommend just trying to do your own CMAs before you have to do it for the first time in front of a seller. So pick a property that you're familiar with. Try to comp it out, maybe your own, maybe your parents' house, maybe you own a house, maybe your friend owns a house, whatever. Maybe there's a house that you've always loved that you've, had an opportunity to take a look at. Try doing some CMAs and get in the practice of knowing how to do them quickly and accurately. The more you know your market, the easier the CMA is going to be to make. I chose this one because I know the area very well. If I wasn't doing it for a class, I could bang that out in 10 minutes flat and feel good to go with it. Sometimes you'll do a CMA and you haven't seen the property yet, and you walk in and you're like, oh my gosh, this place is gorgeous. It is way prettier than I expected. I will tell them flat out right then and there, you know what? I'm so impressed by your house that what I have prepared for you today does not reflect my opinion of it, right now. What I'd like to do is take another, 24 hours to go back home, create another CMA and present that to you. How does that sound? And they'll be like, oh yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, even at that point, I might ask them like, what do you think your house is worth? And we'll go from there. And I'll keep that in mind when I'm doing the CMA. So any other questions before we break? All righty. You all are awesome. This one was a lot of me talking and showing how to do a CMA. So I'm sure it could have been a little bit boring for everybody. But thank you for sticking with it. And remember, for the next coming up week, I want to see our numbers jump up. Angela, that is awesome. I remember you got a pretty good lead from your reaching out to people. Just want to let everybody know that it is possible. You'll do it. You just got to be in action. So congratulations, Angela. That's awesome. And to everybody else who had good success the past week, get out there. Now's a good time, especially in Los Angeles. Whether or not your particular political affiliation is, a lot of people in Los Angeles are Democrats, so they're going to be in really good moods today. So get out there, talk to people, Try to get in front of them, talk to them about real estate. A lot of times when we're in residential real estate, people act on emotion. So they might be excited and feeling optimistic for the future. So this is a good time to talk about selling their house. So get out there, y'all. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach me on Instagram or give me a call. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great one, y'all. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.